where does all our food come from? When we think about it, we picture a farmer planting seeds from fruits. But what if, instead of coming from fruits, these seeds came from laboratories? Good evening, fellow stampeders. Today, I'll be talking about something that exists everywhere. From our kitchen pantries, to labs, and even to our very own bellies. GMOs. What are GMOs? GMO stands for Genetically Modified Organism. The World Health Organization defines GMO as an organism in which the genetic material has been altered in a way that does not occur naturally. There are 4 basic ways to create a GMO. That is by recombinant DNA, electro and chemical probation, bioballistics, and microinjections. Now, I got a question for you all. What is GMO when said backwards? It is OMG. And that is how some people react to this, positively or negatively. That is why I'm going to take both sides of the argument. And I'm going to talk about both of them because, well, I'll leave the final decisions up to you. Because I'm just a teenager, right? The World Food Program indicates that 1 in every 9 people suffer from starvation. As a solution to this problem, we could cut down all our rainforests and make land for agricultural use. But that's not a wise decision, right? In response to starvation, GMOs were invented. The first commercial GMO was the Flavor Savor tomato. And it has increased the shelf life of tomatoes that we find in markets. Since then, it has spread to global markets. According to Statistics Canada, the 3rd largest producer of GMOs is Canada. GM canola, GM sugar beet, and other foods are also produced using GMOs. That is why most of the Canadian supermarkets have products that have GMOs in them, even if it isn't labeled so. That is because Health Canada states that GM food is both safe and nutritious. However, transgenic crops aren't new. DNA mutations have taken place every day, as it has altered genes for evolution purposes. Even humans have done the same using techniques like artificial selection and selective breeding. Let's look at corn as an example. The ancestor of corn was teosinte, and it was 1,000 times smaller. It had just 1 row of grain covered by a hard shell. Unless you had a hammer, this old fellow was no good to make our favorite tortillas. However, over thousands of years of selective breeding, corn has become the way we know it today. Perhaps GMOs are different only because they can create the product in 1 generation instead of 50 different generations. This is because they can do so using very specific genes from one species to another, precisely. Well, many people don't mind if their corn comes from natural random mutagenesis. However, when it comes from taking genes from bacteria and viruses, people aren't quite sure about that. For example, genetic engineers have transferred genes from a bacterium known as Bacillus thuringiensis, or BT, into the DNA of corn. This has resulted corn to have a protein that can kill insects, reducing agricultural costs by cutting down the use of pesticides and herbicides. In turn, this is also beneficial to our environment. But like I said before, GMOs don't always have positive opinions about them. A fear was created after a study published by Professor Sterlini in 2009 indicated that when rats consumed Monsanto's glyphosate-resistant corn, they developed more tumors and died earlier than controls. And Monsanto is the biggest corporation in the world that owns 86% of all the GMO seeds sold worldwide. this experiment raised questions about GMO security, and that is why 38 countries in the world banned them. Thus, genetically modified organisms might indeed be the best or maybe the worst thing that has ever happened for humanity. Who knows? But until then, all we can do is make informed decisions for ourselves, knowing that these decisions will impact not only us, but our children, our farmers, our environment, and most importantly, our food. Thank you very much, and happy stampeding.